if it requires training, how can you have lived for 70 years?
Does
Like he would have been like.
Does he look like a liar?
He started at age 13 from that logic. So you're saying that he needs retraining, but a 13-year-old can just spontaneously learn it.
Well, if you start young, you think.
Well, some people are
trainable.
Some people are just naturally gifted, right?
Believe me, this isn't the strongest argument I have against this.
And they don't need particular training, like Mozart.
Well, many respected scientists have said this is bullshit. So a bit of an impasse here.
Well, that's an argument.
That's exactly what you did, though. You said that loads of respected hospitals have monitored him. That's an argument from authority, just saying that they somehow knew what they were doing.
No, what you asserted is based on pure opinion, but what I put forward is based on actual science.
No, they're exactly the same statements that in counter-research.
No, it's different when a scientist says that this is bullshit without doing any research into it, versus someone who
when did we provide evidence that they hadn't researched it properly? How do you know that the hospital hasn't researched it properly? Then they accidentally kind of hooked him up to the wrong machine, or like didn't keep an eye on him properly, or didn't let the security sneak in.
If you were to see the video, you would have seen that they had an amazing. They did it right, like completely, unquestioningly.
Have you bothered watching the video yet? That you're trying to criticize?
You think I haven't watched this video before?
I'm asking you, did you bother to watch the video before you criticize it?
Of course not. There's not enough time for them to do so.
Which
they just automatically criticize.
I've watched the video with the naked guy, where he's like crazy hippie sitting down in the cave.
You watched what? You watched it when?
A minute ago, when he posted it.
I'll post it again.
This one right here?
The guy who's like sick. The guy who posted it at 12:48.
This one.
Oh, this one with the Indian guy.
Radcen, that guy was only observed for 10 days.
The first time, and then again 15 days in the same fashion.
Yeah.
He did. He lost weight.
We don't have unlimited resources to monitor these people, but I wish they would have monitored him for longer.
Look, he's an elderly man who has lower metabolism like requirements, right? I've seen elderly people live off of like sips and.
Also, how much does he eat, Radcen? Does he not eat at all? Like never? Or does he sustain himself like once a month or something?
I don't think he eats at all.
I mean, he has to drink water.
I don't think he does that either.
I don't think he drinks any water.
He says he does, but he does gargling and bathing activities.
What? So he drinks the water when he gargles. Now, when does he eat his food?
Yeah, that's insignificant. Listen, watch the video and I'll be happy to discuss any of the details.
So can we get a recap of what's going on? Radcen believes you can live forever without eating one drop of food?
Yeah, all you need is sunlight. You guys didn't know that?
Is that what Radcen's claim is?
He was inside though. He was inside. He wasn't exposed to sunlight.
I don't know about
why is it always they when they do these tests they always have people who are non-skeptics, i.e. people who are not trained to spot for forgery or fraud, because it's like always easy. It's always easy to kind of go when someone comes in saying I can do this in front of a panel of my selected people. Yeah, it's funny that. So like they always come in and say, right, so I'm going to do it under my conditions, and they never have anyone who comes in and says, oh well, why can't you do it this way or this way? It's always just like, oh, well, we'll just stick you in a room and we'll put a camera on you, and that'll be enough.
What more do you need?
What more do I need? Like search his person, make sure you vet the people that visit him. Actually, like look into what the tests they're
cavity
doing.
search?
Why not?
Preferably.
Preferably, yeah. How much do you think you can stick up the butt if you wanted to like sneak food in?
No. Look, all you have to
Maybe
do
half a granola bar.
is monitor them for 24 hours a day with like cameras and shit, and for a couple weeks, and then when their conditions worsen and they start to get pale and their blood pressure drops and shit like that, and you just give them some food and you just call their bullshit.
Yeah.
Watch him die.
Just let them bitch.
Oh, here we go. Yes,
Then
here we
watch
go.
him die.
In cooperation with the police, our young rationalist investigators and physicians verified her room and found the entry to a little toilet hidden behind a shelf in a brick hole, through which this woman received food. Oh, what a surprise! Would you believe it? There's ways of kind of sneaking food in when people are not looking. Like, for example, when you go to the toilet.
Who are you talking about?
Talking about another example of someone who tried doing this under so-called test conditions.
So you're just saying, see, this one person was faking, so it's all fake. Real great logic there.
I'm saying that I have shown you that your logic doesn't necessitate that it's not fake. So what I'm saying is your test is invalid. It's not good enough.
Why is it?
Because you were saying, oh, how could he possibly fake it? I've shown you how he could fake it. There you go. Oh, well, that doesn't count. Why doesn't it count?
No,
your claim is that no, he did. Radcen said this is under controlled conditions with experts, etc., etc.
It is under controlled condition.
Yeah, and I've just shown you how those controls aren't good enough.
You're saying they were the same controls?
Yes. This person was watched by people, and then she went to the toilet,
I'm
and they were.
I'm not sure you verify that they were the same controls.
Oh, what's it? Because they're not exactly the same space-time continuum of like.
Seems like you're just guessing.
I'm guessing, am I?
In one instance,
how do you know they use the same cameras that you would consider reliable? How do you know the same hospital standards that you would consider reliable in the Western hospital? You're making the assumption just as much as I am.
We're providing.
You're assuming the controls in India are the same controls as in the West, aren't you? You're going off Radcen's word that the controls, because he mentioned a hospital and experts, that are the same standard that you would expect to be. Or you're making that assumption.
What do you mean a control?
What do you mean? What do you mean I control? You know, you're the one making claims about controls with CCTV, etc.
That's different than a regular scientific control. You have a control group, right? That would have been ridiculous.
No, we're not talking about a double blind. Yeah, we're talking about
a double blind. Double blind refers to.
I know what a double blind is.
The experimenter. Well, you misused the term, but anyway.
No, I'm saying this is not a double blind. I'm not referring to that. I'm talking about a control in the sense that you're controlling for fraud or ways of getting around the so-called controls you've got in place. When someone says a controlled environment, it means there's no external variables. Well, what I'm saying is, as I showed,
you didn't say a controlled environment, but that's fine. That's fine. If you watch the video, the guy was monitored every second.
Watch the video.
There were at least five doctors staring at the screen 24 hours a day, every second.
Is that shown?
Where did you say that?
It's shown in the video.
I'm watching the video.
Is that picture of Dio? Looks kind of like Dio.
You mean all the time that they were watching him, that's shown? That's not fucking shown.
Hey, so,
fuck off, Radcen. Piece of shit.
Here's a link to a Daily Mail article which talks about it, but I'm still reading through it, but there's a paragraph in here where it says, okay, so it says here, the association's Secretary General told the Mail, I asked to be allowed to send an independent team to survey the room where this test is taking place, but I was repeatedly turned down. Up to that point in the article, what's being said is that he doesn't eat or shit, or he doesn't eat, drink, urinate or shit. Like he's in a glass room, the toilet's sealed. He has a beaker with measured amount of liquid to mouthwash, and then he has to spit it out, and they like measure the amount of liquid to tell, just to make sure that there's none being drunk. But that last paragraph, that paragraph, like that 1 or 2 sentences I read was a little bit troubling. I'm gonna.
I've linked an article which is actually talking about statements made by the people from the time. So essentially, it was the guys' handlers that weren't allowing any people to do pre-tests on the room to survey it. They were actually refused to do that. And in 3 occasions when he's had this, they've never allowed people in to do independent verification of the room, which is a big red flag. Similar to how kind of like Uri Geller, for example, wouldn't let people inspect or gain access to the items he was using on his show, or vice versa. He would
Uri Geller was an obvious charlatan.
Yeah, and I'm saying this is a not so obvious charlatan. So it's all very good in hindsight to go, oh, well, it's obvious that he was a charlatan. But the point is, clearly, if it was so obvious, why do people believe him?
Well, actually, the concept of obviousness is actually quite a tricky concept, because something is obvious only after you realize.
Right, so let's ignore obvious and just stick to what we were talking about before. So, so as I said, there was three times he's refused to have anyone independently search the room, to make sure there wasn't anything hidden in there beforehand, or there wasn't any kind of means of like having blind spots for the camera or other such things, or paid patsies to come in and swap his beaker out for proper food, like sugar water or something.
No, they were very, very strictly monitoring this.
Right. Why would he refuse someone to check the room beforehand 3 times? Why would he have a problem with that?
Yeah, this Daily Mail thing is actually saying some of the stuff Stargate Monkey was saying earlier, where they're referencing whenever the Rationalist Association investigate these kind of things, every time and time again, frauds are exposed, like the toilet thing.
Yeah, if you look at the article, the last article I've linked, it actually shows quotes from the statements made. Some of the links for the sources are dead because they weren't actually the sources according to like these people that were involved in it. But yeah, they've got like the quotes etc. from what they've stated from the time, and it's like one of the biggest red flags to any of this stuff. So for starters, are beyond the fact that it's prima facie silly. It's the fact that they always deny people to have an objective who are trying to make an objective possible. Deny these people to actually be involved because they know that they can't control people that are trying to be objective. They can't patsy people if they know that there's someone deliberately watching over their shoulder checking for stuff that they would, it's like asking a magician to have someone watch him prepare his tricks for the show. You're never going to get that because they know that they're going to be see to how the trick is done.
Alright, I'm reading the article right now.
It's just dumb to even investigate this, right?
Well, it's only dumb if you assume that people are rational enough to think this is silly to begin with. And the problem is that they're not. And there's always the fact that these people are making money out of it shows that people believe it and come to false conclusions off of it. So it's in a like
monkey.
For a group of people that don't believe it, yeah, sure, it's meaningless. But if you're trying to prevent other people from being duped by this, and also if you just good practice of just using the tools you've got from skepticism, etc.
Yeah, maybe that's why the people died. They were all people trying this without the proper.
Radcen, you're ridiculous.
I felt like a social misfit. You look like one. And I felt like committing suicide. Some people say I'm good looking. I certainly won't. There's simply no point in being good looking if you can't bloody well talk.